you once again for enabling us to have live stream coverage all the way through the weekend, and also MW Race Consulting providing our live timing. For those wondering if you can find those links, they are on our official Facebook page and also on our official Twitter channel as well. So at BNL Karting Series on Facebook, at Karting BNL on Twitter. First race of the day about to get going, and it is Micromax. And following on from an interesting qualification session this morning, as the local time now hits 12 noon here at Karting Genk, Mies Huben from the Netherlands in the number 8 will start from pole position, ahead of the current championship leader, the number 19, the Netherlands' very own Max Swiderski. Then it is Mats van Rooyen in the number 3, who is in the inside of row number 2, and will have alongside Jake Minton in the number 31. Completing the 6-strong grid will be the number 30 of Boris Maximov in 5th position, and alongside will be Belgium's Jent Timmunen in the number 10. Cloud cover still overhead, rain still falling here at the circuit, but nevertheless, even with just over 80 competitors from nearly 10 different nationalities, spanning over 6 Rotax-powered classes, there will still be plenty of talking points. Not just today, but also tomorrow. We have a combined total of 20 races over the course of the next 2 days. Each of the classes will have a pre-final and a final today and tomorrow, before we have our official podium celebrations tomorrow afternoon to conclude proceedings. So the drivers have now gone onto their sighting lap, as we've had a brief yellow flag. Looks like Boris Maximov might just have had an excursion off the circuit going off of turn number 12, as the top 4, being rounded out by Jake Minton, make their way through into turn number 4. 13 minutes are set on the timer, plus 1 additional lap. That is the duration of every single pre-final and final we will have this weekend at the home of champions, Karting Genk, the home of also GKS Lemons Power, with one of their drivers on pole position, and that is the number 8 of Mies Huben. So the top 4 now starting to make their way through turn number 8. The right-hand sweeper, and a good control there from Mies Huben, wanting to make sure that the first race of the day gets a clean start. So wherever you are watching in the world, we bid you welcome. Despite the wet weather conditions, there is going to be a lot of action, a lot of things to enjoy in terms of Rotax racing here at Karting Genk. The 6-strong field make their way at a crawl through the right-hander at turn number 10. Once we get given the signal to go racing, the red light on the starting gantry will extinguish, and the timer will count down from 13 minutes down to 0. So it is Huben, Swiderski, Van Rooyen, Minton, Maximov and Moonen. That is your 6-strong Micromax grid here for the first pre-final of the day. A total of 5 before we go into the finals this afternoon. So the drivers now start to negotiate their way through the 12th and final corner here at Karting Genk. Let's see, do we get things underway for the first race of the meeting? Lights out, off and away we go, and it's a great start from Huben, who takes the initial advantage going down into turn 1 for the first time, but up the inside comes Mats van Rooyen as Mies Huben runs wide. He goes off onto the runoff area and takes the initial lead back going through turn 3, but Van Rooyen gets ahead of Swiderski, having got past him through turn 3 and makes it stick through turn 4, but then Swiderski goes up the inside on the approach through 5 into 6 for the first time, as both Huben and Swiderski go a little bit wider than Van Rooyen as they head down the back straightaway for the first time through to turn 7. Swiderski closes right up to the back bumper of Mies Huben going through into turn 7. Minton has lost out a position. Looks to be that Boris Maximov in the number 30 has got past for 4th, but Minton will try and chase them down as up the inside tries to go Max Swiderski to take the lead off of Mies Huben. They come out of turn 9, and Huben gets the better amount of traction coming out of the corner. Through into the right-hander at turn 10. As Menton has now got past Maximov to retake 4th place. About to complete the first lap here in the first pre-final that the Micromax drivers will compete over the 2 days. So we'll have one today, one tomorrow. But Max Sadurski closing on the back bumper through the final corner, through turn 12. We complete lap number 1, and it is literally a drag race down towards turns 1 and 2 as Huben keeps the lead ahead of Sadurski. Now they can use the runoff area for the first lap only as Huben runs wide through turn 3. Sadurski up the inside. The pair goes side by side. Huben towards the outside trying to keep it planted. Nearly 2 wheels onto the grass for the number 8. But Sadurski gets through on the inside of turn number 4. And you can just see how much the adverse conditions are really testing the driver's skills in order to keep the maximum amount of traction and adhesion to the surface. So through turn 7, we are now on to lap number 2 of the Micromax pre-final as Sadurski runs a little bit wide. That nearly allowed Mies Huben to go up the inside of the number 19, who at the moment has all 4 victories from karting Genk back in August for the first round of the season in his pocket at the minute. 10 minutes and 35 seconds plus an additional lap. Leaders now coming through the exit of turn number 11. Sadurski leads. Huben in second. Van Rooyen in third. Jake Menton trying to close for 3rd place. Maximov now comes through turn number 11. And so does Jente Moonen in the number 10. Sadurski leads after lap 2. And puts in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:21.520, but then all of a sudden, Mies Huben has lost out by about just over 7/10 of a second. As you can just see, the karts are wanting to break traction from the rear axle. And Sadurski was full on drift committed through turn 3. So he's got a lead now of around 7/10 of a second over Mies Huben, who started from pole. Van Rooyen did a 1:22.671 lap time last time around, but Jake Menton is trying to close, and he's got the gap down to just over 6/10. It's getting a bit closer between them going through the exit of turn number 7 as Sadurski takes the wider line towards the outside of turn 8. And that allows the number 19 from the Netherlands to have that opportunity of putting the power down, getting the traction, the tyres bite onto the tarmac, and then that allows him to get through as they now go through turn 10. Wider line again taken by Sadurski. And the biggest thing is, for those wondering at home, why are they taking such different lines? It's because of the fact with the wet race conditions, the drivers are going to use what they have learned through qualifying, through the warm-up, and obviously through what happened yesterday through free practice to see how it's going to work for them. Another lap completed. The gap now extends between Sadurski and Huben to just over 0.863 seconds. And Sadurski has set the fastest lap. But Jake Menton, watch out for the number 31 as he's closing on the back bumper of Mats van Rooyen. For 3rd place as the pair literally are line astern going through turn 4. Now up into 5. Menton loses a little bit of a ground there from Van Rooyen. But then takes a slightly tighter line going through turn 6 and then closes. He's now going to pull alongside, and he does. That's a great run of momentum for Jake Menton up the inside of Mats van Rooyen to now take 3rd place. But Van Rooyen quickly trying to counter-attack through into turn 8. Menton runs wide. Van Rooyen back up the inside of the number 3. So we're on lap number 4 is Menton now trying to go back up the inside through turn 9. Gets a good run, takes the tighter line. The pair goes side by side, heading down towards turn number 10. But Van Rooyen takes the inside line. And Menton just having to watch it, not try and have any adverse contact that could either compromise not just him, but also Mats van Rooyen just up ahead. As they go through the slight splash puddle through there on the entrance into turn number 12. As Menton ducking one way, then ducking the other, trying to do the old Nigel Mansell dummy, going through into turns 1 and 2. Closes up on Van Rooyen, and I've just been keeping an eye on the leaders at the moment. Sadurski's set another quick lap, a 1:21.305. That's the fastest lap of this race. Huben trying to close, but the battle really is waging on between Mats van Rooyen and Jake Menton as now they make their way once again through turn number 6. Menton again gets a good run. This time around, Van Rooyen was quick to find his opportunity to stay ahead at the moment. So Van Rooyen keeps ahead of Jake Menton with one rear wheel going up into the air for the number 31, the right rear thereof, as they headed through into the right-hand sweeper at turn 8. 6 minutes and 35 seconds plus an additional lap still remaining. And Mies Huben is actually the fastest out on the circuit at 1 minute 21.297 lap time from the number 8 with GKS Lemons Power. So they now come through the final corner. Swiderski trying to break the momentum that Huben has got. The gap was 8.5 tenths. It's now down to just over 5.5 tenths of a second between the pair. And Swiderski, as Menton trying to go up the inside of Mats van Rooyen going into turn 1. That was very, very close indeed. And I've seen it before where drivers have used the opportunity of turn 1 to slingshot pass through into turn 2. And Menton now goes back up the inside. Pair nearly clash wheels going through the exit of turn 3. But Jake Menton now back up into third place. So great dice between these two. And that is the battle for third position. That will net them a fair amount of points. So it's 25 for a victory, 20 for second place. Third will be 16. And then fourth will be 13. And fifth will be 11 points. So Jake Menton was absolutely jubilant last time out in August when he took a second place finish after contact between a few drivers down the field as Mats van Rooyen goes back up the inside of Jake Menton through turn 9, but Menton gets a great run of traction coming out of turn 9, and that allows him to slingshot past the number 3 as we've got 5 minutes of the clock on the clock remaining. So just over 8 minutes completed, just under 5 to go. Now I'm just keeping an eye on now what's happened here. So Mies Huben has now got the lead, as so Max Swiderski has dropped, and that is 3.8 seconds. So Swiderski had about a 5.5 tenth of a second lead over so Swiderski had a lead of over 5.5 tenths over Mies Huben, but Max Swiderski, that was a 1:25.803. So dramas for the number 19. Huben now has a bit of a gap between himself as Swiderski goes very, very close to the white lines on the outside of turn number 6 to get the power down in the number 19. As spin for Jake Menton on the straightaway, but he manages to get going. So he was battling away with Mats van Rooyen. So another change, and that is going to allow Boris Maximov in the number 30 to close the gap. And the gap between Van Rooyen and Boris Maximov last time around was over 6.7 seconds. Huben now just needs to concentrate on focusing forward, knows that Swiderski is not in line of sight as they make their way through towards turn 12, which Mies Huben now exits. We're now on to lap number 8 of this race, and Max Swiderski looks to try and close the gap. The gap now 3.886 seconds. And in terms of the comparative lap times, a 1:21.694 for Mies Huben and a 1:21.726 second lap time. There's a bit of a standing water puddle that's just on the inside of the apex of turn 4 that Mies Huben has just encountered, but he manages to keep it planted. So in these wet weather conditions, when they're trying to put the power down through the corner, through the apex, you're seeing a lot of steering inputs provided by the drivers to keep the kart moving, keep the kart rotating. If it was dry weather conditions, we'd see a completely different set of circumstances altogether. So just over 2.5 minutes remaining. Mies Huben just keeping the blinkers forward, not looking back. Through turn 10 comes the number 8 from the Netherlands. And then through into the left at 11 before another corner to be negotiated. So the running order at the moment is Mies Huben leading from Max Swiderski. We're about to complete lap number 8 of the Micromax pre-final here on day 1 of round 2 of the 2020 BNL Karting Series season. Huben's lead now is 3.697 seconds. So Swiderski has just put in a 1 minute 21.678 second lap time, and that was quicker by nearly a tenth and a half over Mies Huben. But Huben has enough distance. If it was half a second and I was Mies Huben, I would be very, very worried indeed, as Huben now just literally, you can just see the amount of steering angle that the number 8 from GKS Lemons Power put going through into turn 6. And down the Europalan straight comes Mies Huben through into turn 7. Swiderski trying to close. So the top two have now made their way through the 7th of 12 corners here at Karting Genk. And now Mats van Rooyen negotiates it as Mies Huben goes through turn 9, turns to the left, and just through the sheer aggressive nature of the amount of steering angle you have to put in, sometimes a rear wheel will lift off the circuit, and that was the case with the right rear. So this will be lap 9 completed by Mies Huben very, very shortly. We've got just under 50 seconds on the clock to go. 44 seconds left as Huben goes across the line. We're now on to lap number 10. So we'll have a total of 11 laps in this race. Max Swiderski is closing the gap and has put in a 1:21.308. But with time fast running out for the number 19 from the Netherlands. Second will have to suffice and still keep the points lead, but it will give a victory for the first time this season for Mies Huben, who now comes down the back straight, jumping up and down in the kart to help carry the momentum forward. Timer has now hit 0, so 13 minutes have elapsed. And that is it for the first race of the weekend. So next time around, Mies Huben in the number 8 from the Netherlands will take the final lap board, which is being prepared as we speak. Huben now negotiates turn 12 for the penultimate time, and will have just over 1,360 metres of tarmac to negotiate. On to the final lap of the race we go. Huben now has put in the fastest lap of the race on the penultimate lap, a 1 minute 21.282 second lap time from the number 8, and now extends the gap back up to 3.85 seconds ahead of Max Swiderski, who completes the top 2 for the minute. Mats van Rooyen still in third place, 9 seconds off of Max Swiderski, and has Jake Menton 4.5 seconds behind. There's Menton in the 31, who was challenging for third place until a spin on the back straightaway caused the number 31 to have to relinquish the battle with Mats van Rooyen, as Huben makes his way through turn number 8 for the final time. And Swiderski has also negotiated the same corner. 3 more corners remain. Huben turns into turn 10 for the final time, through into the left at turn number 11. So the checkered flag being prepared to wave for the first time for 20 races this weekend. Mies Huben from GKS Lemons Power takes pre-final 1 here at the home of champions by a commanding advantage. Max Swiderski will come across the line in second, 3.924 seconds adrift. Mats van Rooyen will now take third place, having had a great battle with Jake Menton, who now exits the final corner. So van Rooyen takes third. Jake Menton takes fourth place as we await for our final 2 competitors to make their way across the line. And here comes Boris Maximov rounding out the top 5 positions, as Jent Thimoonen, the sole Belgian in the 6-strong Micromax field, now comes out of the final turn and will take 6th place. So Mies Huben wins the first of 4 races, the first of 2 pre-finals here at the home of champions by 3.924 seconds ahead of Max Swiderski. Mats van Rooyen takes third place ahead of Jake Menton. Boris Maximov rounds out the top 5 with Jenthimoonen from Belgium, completing the running order after 13 minutes plus 1 lap of racing action in Micromax Pre-Final 1.